They cannot balance the national accounts without increasing taxes. Following the childish debate between the Prime Minister and Keir Starmer, if there is one thing that has been brutally revealed about the Labour Party, is that their figures do not add up. Once again, they are trying to misdirect the British public with promises that income tax and national insurance will not rise, but there are so many other taxes that they could and would need to rely on to fill the massive hole in their budget. The Conservatives have also struggled to balance the books. Following the reckless distribution of billions of pounds through the lockdown, the horrendous cost of net zero, which is at least £30 billion a year and serves little more than to make the friends of those in power who provide anything remotely considered to be green very rich at the expense of hard-working people, whilst nothing is done about the issues that could be dealt with immediately, like banning plastic bottles or taking steps to reduce trade with China until it begins to reduce the smog that it is spewing out and choking the entire planet. There was no clearer indication that the Labour deception has been exposed than the interview of one very angry Emily Thornberry, the unrelenting supporter of the St George's flag. Not. When pushed on the Labour budget, it became clearly obvious that Sunak has inflicted serious damage to the Labour Party, which they are struggling to deal with. It seems that the deception has been exposed. The British public have been kept in the dark about the vast sums of taxpayer money that is being directed straight into the globalist pet projects and the pockets of those pulling the strings. As I previously said, net zero costs the British taxpayer £30 billion a year, resulting in many people struggling to keep warm due to the ridiculous green levies on their energy, despite the narrative wind turbines do not run on wind, they run on subsidies, not to mention the thousands of acres of valuable farmland that is being lost for these things. Let's not forget those who are making a fortune from these contraptions, some of whom are very well connected families, but I'll leave that there. You can conduct your own research. Then there is the interest paid to private banks by the Bank of England for quantitative easing funds that were basically created out of thin air. Let's put this blatant theft of public funds into perspective. £35 billion of public money being voluntarily paid to private banks, real money taken from hard-working people, given away to private banks as interest on money that doesn't actually exist. Both parties tiptoe around these figures because they are both more concerned about their globalist paymasters than the British people. There has also not been any mention of the unions, the core supporters of the Labour Party, who have been quietly waiting for their payday, whilst the Conservatives are trying to invent policies to attract the very voters who they have alienated. But as we know from their past behaviour, they will say anything to get back into power. But should we fall for their lies, they will then proceed to arrogantly do exactly what they want. These two parties have operated with trickery and deception in its worst form. They have continually played one side against the other, but in recent years, this has increasingly become little more than a blatant insult to the British people as they revel in their own arrogance, taking it for granted that they can do whatever they wish, and in the meantime, the people look to one or the other for salvation. But in reality, we have all been labouring under a misapprehension, placing our trust in the very people who intend to break it. The most relevant example of the manner in which these people operate is lambs looking to the farmer to protect them from the wolves. But in the end, it is the farmer who will take the lambs to the slaughter. No matter what you do, I would urge you to get out there and cast your vote. I would be delighted if you would vote reform. But in the end, what really matters is democracy. Choose as you see fit. But I would say, vote these tyrants out.